Welcome to Brainstorm MTG. I'm ELD, and this is Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Mass. Here we have Barra on Fun Police, a red-white hate deck that he has been piloting for a number of years that has benefited from some new printings, particularly Embercleave and Bone Crusher Giant, cards that have been very impactful so far on the stream or channel on these videos. We've got Steven. I don't actually think he's on Dredge. I think it's actually a different graveyard strategy. I saw his sideboard and jotted down Dredge, but I'm pretty sure it's actually some type of other build. And then we see a Polluted Delta Chalice at 1, along with Blood Moon. So Steven so far just mountains for permanence, and he continues to make his land drops. So not sure exactly what type of graveyard strategy we're looking at here. And he's actually going to scoop it up, leaving us in the dark. So I did see Reverent Silence in the sideboard, a card that is almost exclusively used when people are trying to hit Leyline of the Void. It's a free answer to that free effect at the start of the game. It doesn't get much faster than that. It is a sorcery, but it does allow for people to deal with a Leyline for a low cost of just some life that you typically will reclaim very quickly. Barra not sideboarding. Pretty happy with his opponent scooping on turn 2. And Steven has seen exactly what's going on here. Blood Moon, Chalice. The difference with Barra's list and the typical mono red dragon stompy prison deck is the types of threats and disruption. I think Thalia is a very important card, as is Stoneforge Mystic, a card that not only gives an increased threat density, but also a bit more resilience in the fact that Batterskull can be picked up and put back down, can allow you to gain life in the face of aggro decks, which can sometimes run over these prison strategies. Bone Crusher Giant, another card that can help battle on the board and also gives another threat, often doing such heavy lifting as killing a Delver of Secrets and then coming back down to win a race versus whatever follow-up threat there is. Really, the only negative thing to say about that card is it does trade with Lightning Bolt with just 3 toughness, but at 3 mana, fair is fair. Barra mulliganing here. Saw the power of Blood Moon in that last game. May want a similar start. Of course, they run Ancient Tomb and City of Traders along with Simian Spirit Guide and Chrome Mox to enable turn 1 3-mana plays like Blood Moon or Magus of the Moon. I haven't seen Tritosphere out of his list in a while, but that is another card that can be very potent early in the game. And here we have Simian Spirit Guide and a Plains into Chalice at 1. Steven showing us a Bayou on his side along with a Underground Sea. And now the cat is out of the bag to a degree. We've got a Bloodghast. However, Barra stuck on 1 mana so far. Bloodghast is joined by an Altar of Dementia. And Steven can start milling himself pretty aggressively if he has a fetch land, for example. He can mill, play the fetch land, get it back, mill again, sack the land to get it back again. And Barra confirming Altar of Dementia's text, a card that's been around for quite some time, but only recently with the printing of Hogaak has really seen play. Barra adjusting the orientation of his cards here. Looks like some of them were upside down, perhaps a opening hand shuffled back in improperly. For those of you who may not get to play in tournaments frequently, that is actually the type of thing that you want to be concerned about with your deck, to make sure all the cards are oriented in the same way. It is not just being OCD or picky. It is very much about making sure that you don't have any type of marked card. When you look at the front of the deck, you can actually see if a card is facing up or down, not quite as dramatically as, say, if it's a magic back and they're flipped. But when it's sleeved, it actually kind of is worse, because you can actually tell based off the orientation in the deck. And now we've got a Stoneforge Mystic, only 2 mana, and now that's enabling a Sword of Fire and Ice. Sophie going to do a little bit of card drawing in all likelihood here. Oh, but Force of Vigor. Womp womp. Taking out Sword of Fire and Ice and the Chalice. Vengevine. Dangerous even when he's just being exiled, as that just enabled a free 2 for 2. 2 cards off the board for Berra for 2 cards in Steven's hand. And milling himself, fetch land, getting him back, milling again, and now cracking the fetch. Berra has the threat of Blood Moon, so Steven gonna go get a basic swamp, even though it is possible he won't need to cast another spell for the rest of the game. Basic Island coming in, returning those blood gas. And I believe that was a Cabal Therapy whiffing. Likely to be flashed back. So there's an Embercleave. Oh no, I guess it was just a actual discard spell. 4 damage coming in, and now Hogaak. Oh no, not 4 damage, because they would still be sick. They're being tapped to convoke out Hogaak. And Berra, 1 turn to live. No, 2 turns to live. 12 damage coming in. He does have a blocker. Essentially has 2 turns. And Batterskull would do a lot of heavy lifting here, but honestly, this is a pretty terrible spot. Goblin Rabblemaster sends one of his teammates to the grave. And now Hedron Crab, one of my favorites. Bloodghast coming back as Steven mills himself, hoping to get Bridge from Below in there. Would be nice. And he is just going to go ahead and send. We'll see if Bear is able to take advantage of this. I feel like he could have done a attack step prior. I guess he would have had to have hit a bridge. Fair enough. I can see that line. That extra damage not really hugely necessary. So he swings for 8, and then he's using those blood gas to convoke back the Hogaak, as he had not hit any of his Bridge from Belows at that point. That card really allows you to do some pretty busted things. There's a vintage match on camera, I believe, where my opponent got down a Containment Priest when I was on Vintage Dredge and was able to get out a hollow one and then sack it to Cabal Therapy and then just start looping Hogaak to put about 40 power on board in spite of Containment Priest. That is a helpless feeling when you actually draw your sideboard hate and it still just is not enough and you get trampled by the strategy you were trying to stifle. Definitely not a good feeling. Bera's deck, Fun Police, not about giving the opponent good feelings. Bera, a jovial fellow, always fun to be around, but that deck, not the most fun to play against. 4 Blood Moon, 4 Chalice of the Void. There are a large number of non-games that deck is designed to create. And Steven's deck may not care very much about those effects. I mean, he's actually playing something that could, in theory, win without ever playing a spell. Bloodghast do not require casting. Of course, Dredge, in a actual sense, either manaless or mana'd version, much more capable of playing through Blood Moon and Chalice. Steven is likely going to need to play some spells. And we've got a turn 1 Magus of the Moon. And Steven answers with a $600 mountain. Magus attacks for 2. And Stoneforge Mystic threatens to make this a very short game. He's going to grab Umezawa's Jite. Interesting. Don't know if that indicates that he has more artifacts already in hand, or if he just thinks that's the perfect answer to the situation that might arise and give Steven a chance in this game. So Stoneforge actually cheating out the Jit. He could have just cast it and also swung. I'm not sure what he was playing around there, like a Force of Will or a Force of Negation. I'm not familiar with any of the Hogaak lists running that. And these counters building on Jit. Simeon Spirit Guide jumps into battle, and Steven ready to call it there. I'll tell you, Umezawa Jite with Embercleave would be pretty brutal, giving those +2/+2 activations even more bang for their buck. Bera making this Stoneforge package work in this Dragon Stompy style brew of his called Fun Police. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.